I manage a beachfront property here in Phuket. And as you can see, there are a lot of stairs.
You'd think after years of going up and down between units, I'd be in pretty good shape. But a year ago, I'm walking halfway up these stairs and I can't catch my breath.
Now, anyone visiting here for the first time do sometimes find the stairs to be quite challenging. But I'd lived here for years. I've walked these stairs thousands of times. But at the same time, I'm finding guests, sometimes people older than me, handle them without breaking a sweat.
So I started running at sunrise. I lost about 10 kilos, but here's what I didn't expect. The biggest change wasn't physical. I'm way better at keeping my cool now. Whether it be managing staff, family drama, guest complaints that used to set me off, I do feel the frustration at times, but I don't react the same way. Turns out, reacting fast usually just made things worse.
And nearly a year later, I'm still running every morning. My wife runs with me now too. And that's what surprises me most. Not that I started, but that we both kept going. Let me show you what happened. Living in Phuket, there's incredible food everywhere. I was ordering MSG loaded takeout, pizza, and fried food regularly. And an hour later, after each meal, I went into a complete crash. Just completely drained from all that salty takeout. I kept telling myself that walking between property units was enough exercise to neutralize all that unhealthy eating. And one morning, I'm sitting at our property and I see these runners on the beach. And I started realizing that tourists here for a week have figured out something I completely missed. I'm living in one of the most beautiful places on earth and I'm wasting it. And during this time, it seemed like a coincidence. My cousin invited me to start running at the park in town in the morning. I decided to give it a shot. This is Suan Luang Park, and this is where my running journey began. But I remember, it wasn't all that smooth on the first day. At that time, I hadn't been taking much care of my lifestyle. I was often eating late at night. And so, when I first ran here, I didn't even make it 1 kilometer of jogging before I was sprinting to the toilets. Not the kind of workout I had in mind. But showing up here at 6:30 a.m. and seeing a community of people running, walking, doing aerobics, and I'm watching them all look alive at a time when I used to still be sleeping. And I'm thinking, that's what I want to feel like.
My cousin showed me proper form, chest up, keeping your knees loose, and being aware of how your foot strikes the ground. Turns out, running in a way that doesn't destroy your knees makes a huge difference. It actually started feeling smoother instead of like torture. Week 2 felt incredible. The run was still hard, but afterwards, I had energy all day, like I could actually get stuff done. Then 1 month hit. I'm running every day. My body's completely worn down. The scale isn't moving. But even though the scale wasn't moving, I felt different. I felt way more energy, way less reactive. So I just kept going instead of contemplating on the progressive numbers. I switched to running around our neighborhood instead, since driving to the park every day wasn't realistic with my schedule. My daily route became running from our place to Lam Din Saw viewpoint, which has become this newly popular spot amongst tourists. The route takes me through Khao Khat Mountain in Panwa and is completely different from park running. The slope gives you a natural strength workout, kind of like adjusting the incline on a treadmill, except the scenery keeps changing around every corner. Lush greenery, ocean views. It makes every run feel less like exercise and more like exploration.
From our place at Davina Beach Homes to Lam Din Saw viewpoint and back is exactly 5 kilometers, which I found to be a sweet spot for burning calories daily. However, the inclines though, that's where the mental training happens, as they made me want to quit mid-run several times. Regardless of how much I run this route, the inclines are always tough. One morning drastically changed how I think about those inclines. It's a bit embarrassing, but it's also weird how much I learned from it. I see this woman ahead of me, and by the looks of it, she's around 10 to 15 years older than me. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll catch her, easy. So I pick up my pace, right? She's still ahead of me. I push harder, and the gap just stays the same. And then she starts pulling up a way, one of the steepest inclines on the mountain, like I'm not even there. I'm gasping, slowing down, and then she just disappears around the corner. So I just stopped, completely stopped running, stood there on the trail, hands on my knees, trying not to die. And I thought about how she's already at the viewpoint, while I'm here trying not to collapse.
Here's what got me though. It wasn't about her being fast. It was that she'd clearly been doing this for years. She had built something I was just starting. And if she could be this fit at her age, what was my excuse? That morning changed something. I wasn't running to lose weight anymore. I was running because she showed me what was possible if I just kept showing up.
And around the third or fourth month of my running, my wife said something that caught me completely off guard. I'm coming with you tomorrow. Honestly, it hadn't even crossed my mind that she was interested. But I figured, hey, company is always good when you're trying to build a habit.
Now, she has her pace and I have mine. But there was something about running together, keeping each other accountable that strengthened our relationship in a way I still can't fully explain. Running slowly became this simple practice we could both accomplish each morning. That freedom, that peace of mind before the day started. It became addictive without either of us having to say it. It's not that problems disappeared, but letting our thoughts run free during those morning miles, it took the edge off. It dialed down how intense everything felt. The best part? Some mornings when I'm tempted to skip, she's the one pulling me out of bed. Other mornings when she wants to quit, I'm asking, aren't you coming today? We take turns dragging each other out there. We're not racing, we're not competing, we're just showing up together. Let me show you how this translates to actual business decisions. Before, if something went wrong with operations, I'd be down there immediately, just reacting without even thinking about my tone or how I would come across. And it often became the case that I would make hasty assumptions without fully understanding what the root cause of the problem was. Now that I've adopted this new habit in the morning, there's some correlation happening where I'm feeling more composed. I mean, that adrenaline when something urgent occurs still kicks in, but I'm giving myself more of what I call pauses. In those small but important moments, I can think about what's actually going on with each person and generally handle it better. I'm way much less micromanaging every detail and drama, and feeling more comfortable in letting the staff use their own judgment in the daily operations while I focus on the bigger direction. But there's way more alignment in the team now. I feel everyone's working more towards the same goal instead of reacting to whatever I'm stressed about that day. I got curious about why running was doing this to my brain. So I looked it up, and I ran across this video explaining that running triggers something called BDNF. It's like this fertilizer for your brain. It grows new neurons in the part that handles decisions and mood. But here's the thing, running at sunrise only works if you sleep early. I learned this when Stranger Things dropped its latest season, and I binge watched for 4 to 5 nights straight. Suddenly, I couldn't get up, missed 3 days that week. You can't hack this. Late nights destroyed the whole thing.
Look, there's no magic formula. The key for me was giving myself fewer excuses to skip. In a nutshell, I say just show up. A slow run beats no run. A walk beats staying in bed. It's all about consistency, not how hard you go. But in practicality, 3 main things reduced the friction and made this habit stick for me. The first is, enjoy it as much as possible. Small details on how you run makes a real difference. Running by elevating your knees or by lifting up your hips makes a heck of a difference, lessening the chance of wearing yourself down in the long term. If you continually recognize what's dragging you down in your runs and improving small bits each day, you will see how much smoother and less painful that running will become. Second is rest properly. I'd recommend for you to take 1 day off per week so that your body can rest. Now, I used to be someone who thought that resting was a form of slagging off until I learned it the hard way that it's actually going to allow you to keep it going for years instead of just weeks. And lastly, eat better. Personally, a challenge that I have is that I'm someone who gets hungry quite easily, but a trick that helped me significantly was changing what food I had access to. So by replacing those high caloric foods that I have in my fridge, such as cake, ice cream, or those MSG loaded snacks, with high volume fruits such as apples, bananas, or watermelons, it's allowed me to fill myself with highly nutritious food that fulfills my satiety much quicker than chips ever would. But do also know that it's okay to skip once in a while. Honestly, there were several mornings throughout this year that I skipped. But the truth is, those old habits do feel satisfying in the moment. But when you've adopted healthier habits, going back feels surprisingly bad because you've experienced something much better and longer lasting. And that's when you know it's taken root. Almost a year ago, I was where you might be right now. I was out of shape, impulsive, and just surviving. If I hadn't started then, I'd be wishing I had today. So my simple advice to you is start now or wish you had later. That's all it comes down to. So here's my challenge. Pick a time right now. What time are you gonna try this tomorrow? It doesn't have to be running. It could be walking, going to the gym, swimming, whatever that gets your heart rate up in the morning. Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. And I'd be interested to see if you'll commit to a specific time. Hit that like button if this has helped you in any way. I'll be sharing more about what it's like building a life here in Phuket.